Welcome.
Welcome back.
You are listening to the Seeds of Revolution, Daughters of the Whirlwind podcast. The revolution is live.
I'm Dr. Asante Wasuni Ali.
I'm Aisha T. Obafemi.
And I am Princess Madaya. Hey.
And we're so happy to be here today.
Yes.
So we're continuing with Mother's Day, celebrating
Revolutionary women.
Yes. And today we want to celebrate and honor one of our dearest mamas, community mamas, aunties, Sista Courage, Mama Njere Alghanee, who we, celebrate her not today in the physical, but in the ancestral realm as our warrior angel, a beautiful reflection that was so powerful on this earth. She accomplished so many things, and one of her major accomplishments was motherhood. So today we have one of her beautiful daughters here. She's a mother of 6, by the way. But we have one of her beautiful daughters here.
Not the beautiful daughter.
Not the beautiful daughter. Mama Njere is a mother of 6. And one of her beautiful daughters is here, who happens to also be my best friend and sister for over 30 years.
That's my best friend.
Oh, Lord. And what ironically is our mothers were best friends. Her and I are best friends. And our daughters are best friends.
Look at that.
3 generations.
3 generations.
Of best friends.
So sisterhood.
The triple RBFF. Revolutionary best friends forever.
Oh, Lord, that's a new one. All right, so we have here in the studio today our dear sister, Ntianu Alghanee.
Hey.
Welcome.
Greetings, Africans worldwide. I think that was one of her monikers.
Yes. Come on, sister.
Skywide. African skywide.
Yes.
And I'm so
Bring it
blessed
back.
Through Mama and Jerry.
and grateful to be here, especially taping at WRFG,
Yes.
one of her many homes, and being in the same seat that she has was for many years giving the African news. So I'm very grateful. Ashe.
We're so grateful to have you here with us.
Yes. Daughter Courage. Can we call you Daughter Courage?
Daughter, sister Courage.
Daughter, sister Courage.
Yes.
Sister Daughter Courage.
Right. Got to get it in there.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Yes.
So I think it's, great to start at the fact that you are a mother as well,
Yes.
as we stated it earlier.
Yes.
Just so one thing that, always, I don't think we've ever talked about was just how did you feel growing up, as her daughter,
Much pressure. As any of us can say, just being a child of a revolutionary is much pressure, because the community feels like you have to do or have to travel in their same footsteps. And a lot of times, we don't feel that way. So oftentimes we go our own way. And, sometimes we have to come back to our true selves. So yes, it's a lot of pressure continuing on their legacy. However, once you know it's home and once you know it's you're more comfortable in knowing that that's the way to go. So I really appreciate being a daughter of a daughter of 2 revolutionaries.
Yes.
And my father as well. We can't leave him out of it.
Say his name.
His name is Ras Mausi Alghanee. But yes, being a child of a revolutionary does have its struggles, because we have to maintain that persona as always.
Yes.
Because that's who the community and outside the community know us as being revolutionary children.
Yes.
And having to walk accordingly to that note. So yes, it's a struggle. However, it's very humbling to know that that's where we come from. and that's our beginning. So I'm very grateful.
Yes.
It's great to walk this path with you.
Yes.
And it's really interesting to hear you talk about the struggle and how folks look at you. And in my mind, I just saw like a coin. You know, like on one side of the coin is how folks kind of see you and what folks expect of you. But then on the flip side is how you see yourself, you know, and what you expect of yourself. And, you know, I've come to know, especially becoming a mother, that what's most important, you know, really is how you see yourself. I know we all were reared to see the community, you know, as an extension of our family, extensions of ourselves.
Yes.
And to be in good standing with community, to be righteous, to be dependable.
Right.
And so when I say, you know, that how we see ourselves is more important, I don't mean to be flippant or to say that, you know, I don't care how, you know, how other people see me, right? Because how other people see us is important.
Right.
At the same time, what's really vital is us understanding who we are. Like, I love the words that you use, like knowing what home is.
Yes.
And if I'm home, then I'm secure, then I'm safe.
Right.
Then I don't necessarily feel that pressure.
Right.
Because you're not applying it to yourself.
Right. And you carry that with you always, you know, through whatever relationship that you have. You always know that you have that base and have that relationship with your family and with your community that you can run back to whenever you feel like you're in trouble, quote unquote, or whatever trouble it is to you. And being able to go back to your community and ask for help and ask for support, or know that that support is there, and being able to handle whatever situation comes up because you come from that background. So that's I give thanks and praise every day, every morning, that I was raised in that and that I come from that type of beginning. Yes.
So, talk about how it was growing up surrounded by so many powerful individuals who were your family, and just being raised in that environment.
Oh, wow. So growing up in the South, being raised born in Detroit and coming to Atlanta in 81, when it was really the height of, you know, whatever, I don't want to say the crack cocaine era, and coming to the South, and being Rasta and cultural coming to the South, it was a struggle. And I can always remember my mother saying, you know, no weary, no fear, you know, you are who you are, and they accept you or don't, but you know that you always have a community to come back to.
Right.
So, and coining what Dr. Santowa says, growing up New African, it's been a struggle. However, I have felt that it has been my anchor in whatever I have grown to do, because and we've always thought that the grass is greener on the other side. That growing up in the South, that you wanted to have straight hair, you wanted to not wear your long skirts, or you didn't want to be who you grew up to be because it wasn't popular, or it wasn't what everybody else was doing. However, now that I have grown up in the struggle, that's where I should have been all along. That's where I knew that my growth came from. So yeah, it's a lot of pressure being called an African booty scratcher, you know, and all the names that came along with being cultural and growing up a new African child. Is that you grow from it, but you know that whatever is out there is bigger than what you're facing.
Yes.
So, I mean, the struggle is real for everybody, but getting through that struggle and knowing that that you can do it with strength and courage, and that's what it's all about. Yeah.
You just made me think about the joke too that folks say. Have like, the dookie braids. Not only was you an African booty scratcher, you had them dookie braids, them long dreads.
Right, and why your mama made you put that in your hair? And you know, it's just you know. But my mama and I asked my mama. I said, why do I have to wear my hair? You know, why do I have to wear head pieces? Why do I have to do this and that? And it's because this is who we are, you know, and don't be afraid of who you are.
And it was a form of protection, you know.
Right.
We didn't realize it, but
Exactly.
truly having those different crowns, and it protected us from so much more out there that we could ever think about. Now, as adults, we can see it,
Right.
and we see it because we see that we've placed it in our daughters, you know, when how we encourage them to be natural and strong and bold,
Right.
and who they are.
And those same people that talked about me have
now
lots.
we have
You
lots.
know, those same people
Or
that
faux
I
locks. They got
see,
locks.
Yes.
you know, or the faux whatever.
Right.
Or they
But
come and
they're
tell
in-
you, man, y'all knew what what was happening all them years ago.
Right.
Exactly.
And not only do they have locks, they sporting the African wear, the quote unquote
Well, the-
African dashikis and
Right.
long skirts. You know,
Right.
it's like
The
came full
Amazon
circle.
Amazon.com, she know it.
It came full circle. And
No
it kinda
shade,
goes
no
into that-
shade.
Right.
Maybe
that
just a
I'm
little.
woke now stuff, you know, and then you just be
Right.
like, what?
It's a trend now,
Yeah.
but it was our
Yes.
lifestyle.
Right, and
You
it's
know,
still
and it was
our
our way of
lifestyle.
life.
Right.
So, you know, back then I was a little upset,
Yeah.
you know, of course,
Of course.
naturally, of not being able to go with the flow or being, you know, quote unquote normal.
Right.
But now I'm just extremely grateful that I walked that path. So, you know, it is what it is.
And
like they
look
say.
at it now. It's like we were the trendsetters. We are
Exactly.
I was
trendsetters.
gonna say the flow
We
caught
are,
up
because-
to us.
Yeah.
Exactly.
My
Exactly.
senior
Or,
year,
you know,
I cut
still
my
catching
hair. I was like, I had my hair twisted and would wear it out and all the little different twist outs and
Yeah.
you know. But then senior year, I said I'm gonna cut my hair, and I dyed it Auburn, and everybody was, oh my gosh, what is she doing?
Right.
And the next thing I know, a week later, a few more people cut their hair. So I was like, hey, I went to the
I remember
prom.
you
with
shut down the prom.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I had my gala high,
Yeah.
you
Yes,
know,
you did.
matching my dress. The
Yes.
next year, about 10 girls came in there. They couldn't touch what I did. But they tried.
They tried it. They
You know what
tried
I'm
it.
saying? But that just shows what our parents did for
Yeah.
us that we
Yeah.
didn't realize. And now today, I can say that even helped boost our confidence because now you
Right.
say they
for
copied me, not in a negative way.
Yeah.
I was
Well, I
so
don't-
positive
I
that
don't
they
really-
wanted to do it.
And I don't say that they copied me, but it was definitely an inspiration there.
Yeah.
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 And definitely, you know, that they, like Dr. Santua said, they caught up to us.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, so it's
Yeah.
and a trend probably did that for them, and they
Yeah.
had to realize that their black was beautiful.
Beautiful. Yeah.
You know, because back then we was inbred with that.
Yeah.
That our black is definitely strong and beautiful
Yeah.
because we had that in song.
Mm-hmm.
We had that in community. We had that every day. when
Daily
we was
life
growing
lessons.
up. Yes.
Yeah.
But I
So
think
they
too,
didn't realize it.
it's a problem because a lot of people don't have that,
Yeah.
and not it
Exactly.
didn't have to be what we had, but
Right.
they didn't even have a sense of community
Right.
at all.
Right.
So when you're looking at these people and they're questioning you, it's because they don't
Right.
understand it,
And
and they
that's-
don't understand
yeah.
it because they weren't taught that.
Right, and that's what I revered about my mother, because we did go to a school that was deep in the hood. We went to Scott Elementary, that was right off of Bankhead Highway, and she was there every day. She was there every day because we didn't eat the food, and they tried to put the food on us. You know, when we didn't take our lunch, you know, and we had to eat the school lunch, she was there to make sure that they didn't feed us what
we weren't supposed to eat.
Make sure it was I-town.
Or, you know, or that the curriculum, she knew that the curriculum was not as efficient as it should have been.
Right.
So she ended up to be the PTS, the president
of the PTA.
Of the PTA, you know, because she was there so much and there to care about the other children as well and what they was exposed to. And that the fact that we was being talked about every day, she wasn't having it.
Right.
So she was up there every day.
I was just about to say, that was one thing that we all have in common. Our parents did not play about
that the
exposure and being a recognizable parent in that system. And like you said, not just for us, but for all the children there. They didn't what do you call
discriminate
against children because they didn't have African names or they were advocating didn't have natural hair. They advocated for all the students, especially the ones because they came from the breakfast programs. You know, their organizations implemented that, so they brought it even further. When especially when we all convened here in Georgia, it was like they were a committee. Even though we all went to different schools, they knew, okay, your child's at this school, but I'm going to be there, and this is we gonna show up here. And one thing that Mama Tamu with the Kwanzaa programs, bringing other people there to represent that, you know.
But it wasn't about her children. It was about all the community, the children that was in that
it's the village, it's the community.
Exactly.
It's what is so missing today, you know, because there's only a handful of us that are still willing to do that.
Yeah, I was gonna say too that's what, because you talked about like things that made it easier, made the struggle easier, and that's one of the things, you know, Princess Madai, you just said it, like our mothers and parents, our fathers also, aunts, caregivers, like, you know, people who really cared about us, they showed up and they modeled for us.
Because it wasn't just our mother, our biological mothers, it was our community aunties like Mama Tamu and Ia Kaina and Ia Falani and many other community mamas that looked after us as well.
So I could remember going to an elementary school in the West End. I can't think of the name, but literally Mama Latifah lived across the street. And I can remember getting out of school and going straight to her house. And Mama, dang, I can't think of her name right now. I'm sorry. But if I think of it, I'll bring it back up. But literally being able to go to their house after school if Mommy wasn't there to pick us up, and them being across the street knowing, hey, if we got a call, they coming right there. Knowing that was confidence in itself, you know? And like we talked about it, you know, when we were talking with Mama Tamu, that we conversation, you know, and having that village there is so much more. I don't even think people understand the vastness of the importance of it, you know, because it goes beyond just that moment when you're in 3rd grade or 2nd grade or even in 12th grade or even going to college, but having people around you that you could just walk out school and go across the street or go next door, or when I was in high, they were
those
there.
Families that you can depend on. Probably M. Agnes Jones.
M. Agnes Jones.
We lived right across the street from Mama Latifah. And that's where we went to school. I started school at M. Agnes Jones.
And I think every school we went to in Atlanta, we left a mark, because I could tell you now. People be like, "Oh, you hung out with that girl with them locks and them twists in the front." and then what was y'all's names again? I'd be like, and then the high school I went to, she had friends, and then the high school she was to, I had friends. It was so just the way it just flowed, but it just showed the remarkableness of who our parents were, because people knew, oh yeah, your mama, oh them Sunni Ali's, them Alghanees, don't be messing, you know. You'd be like.
And that's why, exactly why I commend them, because even though we went to different schools and we had our friends outside of the community, they made us friends with people inside of our community. So we will have that common common ground,
Relationship, yeah.
a common relationship with each other.
Because we were forced to be best
and
friends.
knew that people, right? we were.
Mama Njere came to that house.
right?
Not
Exactly.
Greenwich.
Our daughters are the same age.
What was that house where we were down the hill?
But I
Down
remember
the hill.
seeing y'all at Kwanzaa.
Bankhead.
Yes.
Bankhead.
But no,
Yes.
but that
I
wasn't
remember
the street.
seeing y'all
That
at
wasn't the
Kwanzaa.
street, but it was
street.
in Bankhead.
Yeah.
But
Banana Place.
Banana Place.
Yes.
I remember that.
900 Banana Place.
I was in the basement and Mama.
She's like, you going to her birthday party?
I was like,
And I was
this
like,
is Ntianu. I was like, okay.
I was like, all right.
Right.
Okay. But then
We were 12.
Yes, we were 12. But then
Yep,
we
30 years
formed
later.
our own relationship,
Yeah.
and however many
What,
years
what,
later,
30
you're still my
something years,
sister,
Yeah.
and I
So-
appreciate that
It's okay.
because you're the weed. Because if it wasn't for our mamas,
Yeah.
that we would have never known
been-
each
yeah,
other.
Yeah.
Because we used to see y'all at Kwanzaa.
Yeah. And be like,
And I was like,
who is
okay,
that?
who are they? Because, it was like a bunch of us
Yep.
and a bunch of
us.
y'all.
Like, who family better? What?
Right. So we was eyeing y'all up and down. Y'all was eyeing us up and
There's
down.
like 3 boys. Okay.
Right. I know my
got
brother
6,
can
we
take
got-
him. I know my sister.
And each one of them had 6 children.
No, then we go grab Auntie Tamu's doing this. Like, oh, we got you did
So
it.
I didn't even know I was going to her birthday, to her and Kofi's birthday. I
Yeah,
have to
Kofi's, yeah.
recognize your twin.
Yep.
Yes.
But I didn't know we was going to your birthday until she said, y'all going to the
But you know what's crazy? Not only we became friends, but Seke and Ayana became
Yes.
friends. It was like more of us became closer of our age generation, and it helped.
Yes.
And even the Gafors,
Right,
with them
right.
coming in
And
just
even
those-
the Kenyamas.
the ages
Yeah,
helped
we were
us to
all the
bond
same
better.
age, yeah.
We
so.
are one. Together we stand.
Oh gosh.
And Kanyamas loved singing.
Yes. Sang that every
I
choir.
get to know these. Yes. So I wake up
Yeah.
every morning and giving thanks
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah.
That our parents
Yeah.
knew before we did.
Yeah.
Right.
That
What it was
we
gonna be.
were
What we
needed to
needed.
be
Yes.
in
Yes.
the same. Yes,
Building
that we
community.
needed to be together, and we needed to because we were like-minded.
Yeah.
So it's one thing to have your like-minded friends
Yeah.
and be in the same community, and knowing that we still had our people outside of our
Yeah.
community.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
but we know the people in our community have our
Have our
back.
back. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And you don't have to explain anything.
Right,
Right.
And we could just totally be ourselves.
Yeah.
And
No
so,
bad hair
yes,
days.
I'm eternally grateful.
Wow.
Yeah, we can pronounce each other's
Name,
name.
right.
Yes.
Exactly. Not like, how you say that again?
Right.
The beautiful thing is y'all have done it with y'all's daughters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fu said earlier, that y'all daughters are best friends.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't, and we didn't even know that we was gonna be pregnant at the same
Yeah.
time like that.
Yep, because I was pregnant, and then she called me.
Right.
And said, okay, let us
Oh, we pregnant.
Yeah, and
We pregnant.
she told Ia
go.
Falani,
Sure did.
and so that made
Don't tell nobody.
yeah.
You
I
had
was
it
like,
told your mom.
I have not told my
I
mother.
said, well, I have to tell somebody. Nothing like
Next
telling
thing
my
I
mama.
know, Ia Falani was like, Ntianu. She did not say Nuki.
Right.
And I know if you say Nuki,
Then
then
it's
that's
cool.
it's cool.
But
But if you say
Ntianu,
Ntianu,
something
it's
serious about to go
business.
down.
She's like, Ntianu. I'm so happy. I was like, okay. We,
About?
She's like, right. She's like, yes. Of course, shared with me the news.
That's your best friend.
She
Because
shared
your
with
best
me.
friend. She
I
knows.
was like, oh, what did Mama do? Did she do something different? I thought she was talking about my mother. She's like, no, you with the child.
That's exactly how she talked to me.
I was like, a fool.
Yeah.
And
That
so-
was out the bag.
Growing up, we called her Mouth Almighty.
But I can only appreciate, because I know my sister had my back, and then Ia, my aunt, had my back, and so
Yep.
but she had my back in telling my mother, because that was a big thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, Mina is here.
Yeah.
And
Mina and
she's
Ziggy.
14.
Yes.
I can't believe it.
All
They're
these years
besties.
later.
Yes, and they're on the phone all the time.
Oh, the time.
That is beautiful.
All the time.
Yes.
Yes.
And I just had them both for 3 days.
Yes.
And I was just like, okay.
Yes.
It was you and Nuki.
I was gonna say, do y'all see yourselves
Yeah.
when you look at them?
Ziggy called Mina a mini Medaya.
Yes. There's like they switch it. Ziggy be like, you're like my mom, and I'm like your mom. we weren't born to the right. Oh, no, y'all were.
Yeah, because me and Ziggy are both Sagittarius.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
That
so
makes sense.
we share that commonality.
Yes.
But I know Mina she's
That's
she's
my
definitely-
goddaughter.
Yes, she's definitely stern. I can say
Yes.
in the nicest way.
Yeah.
Just like Medaya, she's very stern and to the point.
Yeah.
So
she
I
is.
appreciate that about her.
Yeah.
And like your mother.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes, yes.
Your mother was
Mama
stern and
J-
to
yep.
the point. Very
Yes.
sweet, always had a beautiful smile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always.
So we talked about Mama Tamu's beautiful black
Yes.
skin, but Mama Njere was
Woo.
another one.
Yeah.
That shining
Anytime
glory.
she smiled, anytime
Yes.
she spoke, oh my God, the power
Yeah.
in
Yes.
her voice.
Yes.
Like
And the
she
way
made
she
you
walked into a
listen.
room.
Yes. She walk in that room with her gele and her locks wrapped
Oh
up.
yes, the gala
Match
to
it,
the,
and she
to the
always
sky.
she
Right.
matched her gele and her
You gotta
her
recognize.
skirts, her outfits was you couldn't, and her boots. Nah, don't come for Sister Courage now.
Not with those boots on.
Right, she coming to
Don't
tell
come
you
for
something
her.
too.
Yeah, don't come for her.
Yes,
And yes, and like I said, I'm eternally grateful for her courage.
Yeah.
You know, and for her strength,
yes,
and for her tenacity,
yes,
and for her passion for our movement, and bringing forth everything that she had in her for the liberation of our people.
yeah,
So I'm eternally grateful every day for her
yes,
and for her passion.
yes.
That's a blessing. Such
Yep.
a blessing.
Yes.
And for anybody who doesn't know, a few facts about Mama Njere.
Right.
You know, she was a citizen of record of the Republic of New Africa.
Yes, she was.
As we all are.
Yes.
A proposed independent black nation state.
Yes.
She was also the female co-chair of NCOBRA,
Yes.
the National Coalition
She
of
lived for
Blacks
NCOBRA.
for Reparations
Yes, she
in
did.
America. She had numerous activist positions. She worked on the Georgia Citizens Coalition of Hunger. She was the executive director of the Georgia Advocates for Battered Women and Children. Southern Region Coordinator of the Million Woman March.
Yes.
I mean, so many things. So Mama Ntianu Alghanee is another name that you all, as our listeners, should know.
Yes.
You know, and should research
Yes,
to learn more about and to emulate.
yes,
You know, these are revolutionary women that we salute for so many reasons.
Right.
You know, not just because they are our biological mothers and aunties and godmamas, but because they are powerful, exemplary human beings, you know, who happen to be women, who happen to be revolutionary black
Right.
women, that we aspire to also be like.
yes,
Yes.
Ashe.
And they gave
Ashe.
birth to some badass children. I
Yes,
mean that in
there
the best
you
way.
go. Right, right. In a good way.
In a good way.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about some of the legacy projects that you all are doing as a family? So I know you have like scholarship or
Ashe. So she transitioned on June 24th, 2010, and that was actually her birthday, her Earth Day. So a year later, well, as a family, we were figuring out a way to honor her and to honor her legacy and continue her works. So we, as a family, cultivated the idea of starting a scholarship foundation in the name of her. She coined the name Abisa, which means Africans born in slave land America. And so we carried that name on to the foundation. So it's the Sista Alghanee Foundation. And the foundation is a scholarship program. Well, after her transition, we had a dinner to raise funds for independent schools. My daughter attended and graduated from Quilombo Academic and Cultural Institute, and my nephew, as well as my elder niece, graduated from that same school, which is from
African Citizen School. Shout out.
Mama Aminata Umoja and Sister Tashia Umoja is now the founder and director of that school, and is still in existence. So please go out and support them.
Support Quilombo.
Yes.
QuilomboSchool.com.
So we saw that it was a need for funding to these freedom schools, and that a lot of families didn't have the funds to continue the tuition because freedom ain't free.
Right.
And so those schools need a lot of support and a lot of financial support at that, as well as hands-on support to continue to keep those schools, keep the doors open. So we instituted a scholarship program to help parents to be able to substitute any, downfall in funding and paying for their tuition. So we will have a dinner every year on her birthday or around her birthday to raise funds to give a scholarship out to a child that was going to an independent school or homeschool, because sometimes homeschooling takes a lot as well.
Right.
So we have been doing that for the past, since 2011 up until the pandemic, which was 2020. So in lieu of the pandemic happening, we were not able to have physical fundraisers, but asked that you donate it to any independent school or any child that was homeschooling at that time. So right now we kind of held back, and we're working on infrastructure. So we hope to start that back up possibly next year, to having in-person fundraisers to help build up the scholarship fund to help a particular child that's in need of funds for tuition or for homeschooling tuition.
Is your
such a beautiful thing.
So now my brother has T-shirts, the Sista Courage T-shirts that we sell, and that is the Art Years LLC, to help raise funds to build that scholarship fund back up.
Also, is the Abisa fundraising or fund, is it tax deductible?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But that's also where we are and working on the infrastructure and things of that nature to be able to be a 501c3.
Okay.
And be able to have the logistics of the foundation be solid, so we are able to receive more funds from bigger organizations or from other causes, so we can build, because right now our scholarship, we've given out every year we've given out up to $200 to $300 worth of scholarship going to a child in need.
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome.
And I want to talk about, I know your sister's not here, but that kale salad.
Oh, yes.
Kale salad dressing.
Where you at,
shout
Aisha?
out to
Shout out to Mama
Power.
Mama Power Foods.
Yes, Mama Power Foods. And actually, she started her kale salad dressing to pay for tuition
Wow.
for her children to go to Quilombo.
Innovative.
So yes, so that's how that started for her business. In Mama Power, MamaPowerFoods.com is where you can go to purchase this wonderful kale salad dressing.
And
It's
also
amazing.
at what other stores?
And is definitely at Wadata. It's at Sevananda. It's at Mutana's. It's at Nuts and Berries. But definitely mamapowerfoods.com is where you can get it directly.
Yes.
Thank you.
And again, these institutions definitely need our support.
Yes.
And that's one thing that my mother did strongly believe in is supporting Freedom Schools. She was an owner of Noname Roots Freedom Shule and a Saba Shule that came from, she had a collective of mamas coming from Detroit and then moved to Atlanta that started these schools that become summer camps. And so she was a strong believer in our educating our own.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So yes, so that's how we got the idea of forming a Sista Alghanee Foundation to help fund the Freedom Schools, because that was one of her passions.
Right.
Is making sure that we educated our own children.
Yeah.
You know,
And
because we can't leave it up to nobody else to educate us.
That's
Yep.
right.
And I like to point out the fact that both of our daughters are in high school, and they also attend
Yes.
a freedom school, a
Yes.
school that we started out on the land. You know, when we're talking about land and freedom, you know, and there are only 2 high schoolers, but they learn so much. You know,
Right.
just this week they were with me, and part of their program is work-based learning. And so they don't just go out on the field and plant something. They learn how to do it, and then they also get paid. So it's like they clock in at 9 o'clock, and to whatever time we're done, we take a lunch break. And then if we have to go run errands for that same process, they get paid for that whole time. And they love it, because they was like, we racking up.
Right.
But the fact that, you know, we still are maintaining what our parents, you know, have desired for us to do, even though that we didn't stay in independent schools growing up, you know, for the majority of us, we are definitely doing that for our children, because we see the importance of it even more, because we went through it.
Right.
You know, having gone through both, because we went through
Definitely.
freedom schools and then public schools, and it's a vast difference. And we realize that our children really need the freedom school more than the public school, because the public is everywhere for them.
Right.
But they need that individualized learning, love, protection, guidance,
Right.
you know, and constant teaching of
Right.
who we are, and that reiteration of being Black, beautiful, strong.
The cultural
Right.
relevance.
Yeah.
Right,
So-
and that's what I was going to touch on, is that that was a phrase coined by Mama Aminata Umoja, is having that cultural
The culturally relevant classroom.
and that she teach nationally
Yes.
to other teachers. That is really important for us to make sure that we are taught about ourselves,
Absolutely.
more so about European education
Yes.
or European history
Yeah.
that don't have nothing to do with us or our
And which is
future.
exaggerated anyway.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. Completely
Exactly.
exaggerated.
Yeah.
So we thank you, Ntianu.
Yes.
This was so beautiful.
I'm trying
What
not
I
to
wanted
call you
to
by your
say,
nickname. I'm trying.
I really wanted to even reflect the fact that, you know, they did a show together on Fridays, you know, and we're back here on a Friday. What good is a song? And we're doing this together, even though this is our podcast. But, you know, we're doing it in the WRFG studio, and we're doing it in the same space that they held so many years together, every Friday night together for so many years. And to have us here together, it just, you know, it makes me feel full circle. And I know that they're both proud of us. And they're both up there probably celebrating and looking like, yeah, we did that for Lonnie. We did that in Anjerie. And hugging and even being grateful that, you know, we are still honoring their sisters that are still here, you know.
Yes.
So
Yes.
thank you, mamas.
Yes.
You know, once again.
Salute.
Salute.
So yes, for Mother's Day, every day is Mother's Day.
Yes.
But we wanted to recognize our moms, you know, all of them, the aunties included, And we spoke earlier about not naming because so we really can't do it because it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot.
But I still feel like we should.
Right. Well, a
They
few,
know who they are.
they do know who they are. But I will say, to the 4 women who shared so much and did so much for us, they all actually transitioned and became ancestors in the month of June.
Yep. Yep.
That was Nubia Lumumba,
Ashe.
Sister Latifah Munira Carter,
Ashe.
Ialosha Falani Nandi Suni Ali,
Ashe.
and Sister Courage, Mama Njere Alghanee.
Yep.
So I think that it's appropriate to name at least those 4.
Yes.
We
It's a
give
powerful
thanks for
month.
them, yes, and give thanks for all their children. It's a blessing for all of us to still be walking this walk together.
I'm so happy we have each other.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. And it goes back to that they
They did
this.
Right. They did.
Purposefully.
And that's what we do for our children as well. And
We
that's
do
what,
that.
I really truly believe that we should continue on is making
Carrying
sure
on.
Yep.
that
Carry
our
on.
children's circle is that tight.
Yeah.
That we introduce them to families
Yep.
and to
Each other.
children that are like-minded is what I
yes.
say.
Absolutely.
And make sure that they have that foundation solid
That
because this
community.
world is something else.
Oh, it is.
This
Yeah, they're gonna
society is
need
something
it.
else.
They're gonna
That
need
they
it.
really need their foundation to be solid.
Yes.
So I appreciate that from our ancestors and from their ancestors to them, to us, and to our children.
Ashe.
Yes. Ashe.
Thank
Ashe.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So you have been listening to the Seeds of Revolution, Daughters of the Whirlwind podcast. Be blessed.
Look for me in the world.